as we know, like I say, I don't preach religion, I preach relationship with God. And the most important thing is, that's the most important thing. That's what God wants from us. I'm going to start by the scripture, Matthew 26:39. And I'm going to need to use it to explain a lot of. From the CEV, it says, Jesus walked down a little way, then he knelt with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, don't make me suffer by drinking from this cup. But do what you want and not what I want." That's according to the CEV version. So we celebrated Easter, right? Yet and all that. And this place struck me because even before we did Easter, so there was a point whereby Jesus, the Almighty Jesus, said, "Not your will." Jesus was tired. And he said, "Let this cup be taken away from me." The concept of the cup is something that we don't talk about in fulfilling purpose. We talk about the joy, you're doing your talent, you're using your talent, you're following your passion. But nobody talks about the cup. Basically, what that scripture means is, from the translation, cup means suffering. That's what it means, suffering. A topic that we don't like to talk about. So there was something when I was preparing for this. Look, everything in this life, the Bible calls calls the devil the prince of this world, and everything in this life is, especially in Nigeria, everything is just created to frustrate your life. So there are some countries that actually support talent than some other countries. Talking about the US, it supports more talent than most other countries. It's visible with the amount of talent that comes out of the USA. It is, Hollywood, talk about the music industry, whatever it is, comedy and all that. Now, leave that. Now, Nigeria, it is well. So, but irrespective of where you are, the moment you decide to, I want to follow purpose, when you start discovering it, the devil just says, no, I can't allow this person to do this. So it starts putting a lot of confusion. A lot of people are confused. Do you know that? And that confusion is not from God, because God is not the author of confusion. It is the devil that brings confusion. So you discover one talent, or you discover a passion, and you're doing it, it's sweet at first, then it starts getting frustrating. Then you discover another thing. And before you know it, you discover like 5 or 6 talents. And you're confused which one to follow. The more you try to, you are more confused. So you have a lot of youth confused in that thing. Let me explain it this way. How many of us we've watched Spider-Man No Way Home? I want to explain the concept using that movie. I like using movies to explain. So you remember that scene that Spider-Man and Doctor Strange were fighting? How many of you can remember that scene? So Doctor Strange is a wizard, right? He can trap you in any dimension. So they were fighting, and Dr. Strange wanted to trap Spider-Man in a dimension that is not of this world. So he put him in a prison. So Spider-Man was confused. That's an example of when the devil wants to confuse you. And the funny thing is that Dr. Strange, that stuff, he uses mirrors. It looks like reality, but it's not reality. The devil does that a lot. He does that, like, you're just trapped there. But Spider-Man did one thing. What did he do? I went and watched the movie. How did he escape? Calculations. He realized that this is not magic now. This is simply, there is mathematics behind this thing. Let me just use mathematics. Basically, he escaped and he trapped Doctor Strange instead in his own world. And watching that movie just reminded me that for those, I don't know if you're confused about, most of the time, the solution is, you have to go back to the origin. Let me explain it this way. I was still discussing with Tobilo the other day, and I was like, I remember my life was confused. Like I always say, MTNs in the world, multi-talented Nigerians, that we can do so many things, and we don't know which one to focus on. I was so confused. Everything was just frustrating me and everything. Then I went to meet a mentor of mine. He's also a pastor, and he said that I should go back and ask my mom what she did when I was, when they say that kind of thing, as a normal Nollywood thinking person, what do you think? My mama na waiting, I wish. I say, how can you see my mom? He said, no, I should go back and ask. That's the solution. I went to meet my mom. That mommy, what do you do when I small? That kind of question can get you disowned. But but apparently, when I was young, the truth was that I was very sick when I was young. A lot of people don't know this. I was very sick. So in the bid of this one must not die, she dedicated me to God. She said, if this boy should survive, I will dedicate him to God. Hi! It's not a question of being a pastor, but it's a question of there is nothing I'm going to do. If I don't do God's work, it's not going to work. You get the drift. No matter what I do, if I don't put God's work first, nothing else will work. So when she told me, I was like, if I don't hear me, I don't waste time. I would have just been doing God's work first. And the funny thing is that the moment I realized it and I started doing God's work first, everything started coming to me. Like I keep saying it for the past how many years, I've not applied for any job. They keep giving me. They keep asking me to do that. I just sit down. I can't remember the last time I actually submitted my CV and said this. Everything is now based on last I go school, 2012. And I've not gone back to school since then. Even though I did some courses and all that. But those courses are just... But really, sometimes the cause of your confusion, I'm not saying they dedicated you to God, but you really have to go back in time. Because I remember in one of the editions I said this. When I consult for people and they say they don't know what to do with their life, they don't know where to. One of the strategies is to tell them to go and ask your parents what you used to do when you were small, when you were young, when life has not confused your life, when school has not defined you. Go back and ask. And eventually, some of them go back and ask, and their parents like, when you were small, you used to. There was one that said when she was small, her mom used to leave her in the shop alone. And she would manage the finances as young as 7, 8, thereabouts. Her mom would leave her in the shop alone to undo things. So, as she was trying to get into school and all that, I said, look, your life, your destiny has to do with business. There is no point trying to... And she's doing amazingly well in business now. Doing very well in business now. So sometimes because of your confusion, sometimes we are too smart for our liking. So the devil actually does confuse us sometimes. It makes the moment you decide that, purpose, passion, talent. Now, sometimes the reason why you are suffering is not village people. It is just simply because you chose the hard part. The reason why you're going through some of the things you're going through, now that is not for some people. The reason why you're suffering is because you made a bad decision. But for some people, so this is how you know. This is how you know. You've been suffering for the past 3 years. You've been repeating the same prayer point for the past 3 years, and nothing has changed. Is God deaf? God is not deaf. Is God merciful? Yes. Don't you think that there is a problem somewhere? Maybe your prayer points. Sometimes you say, peace be still to the storm. And you're not meant to say, peace be still. It is not going to answer you. Because at that moment, God expects you to walk on waters. But you are saying, peace be still. And the storm keeps on going, keeps on going. But that is not the solution to what you are meant to do now. It's a different ball game. Sometimes the problem you are facing, you are saying you should stop. It will not stop. One of the dangerous prayer was what Jesus prayed. Father, let your will be done. How many of us have prayed that prayer? Don't lie. You prayed that prayer before. But you don't know you are putting yourself into trouble. The moment you say, let your will be done, think about it very well. Are you sure you want God's will to be done? Because part of God's will is that you drink from the cup. Let me ask you a question. In the pursuit of greatness, pursuit of purpose, must everybody suffer? In Nigeria, when you hear suffer, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? This economy now, no be Gary. Even if you drink Gary, you're not suffering. No, you're rich. You're rich now. You drink Gary, you're a big boy. When we talk about suffering, we only look at suffering in one direction. The truth about it is still suffering. People don't like that word, but it's suffering. So did Abraham suffer? He actually suffered. I mean, he didn't have a child. Do you know the psychologically, the mental, everything that must have gone through. So in Nigeria, when we talk about suffering, it is lack of money. But we don't understand that sometimes suffering is beyond lack of money. So people have money and they still have to go through the pain. Like I said, no pain, no gain. Now, okay, let me now use a milder word for it. In your pursuit of greatness, must you pay a sacrifice? Is there a price to be paid? Must we sacrifice? I was watching a video of Abioye, and this other pastor was asking him that, okay, sir, what is your message for this generation that is coming? And he said, you can't jump the process. You have to go through the process. And the process is not easy. This is something that we don't talk about in churches. We don't talk about it, I remember when I resigned and I had my own suffering. And I was asking God, why? You feel that the moment you start obeying God, you start doing what is right, everything is meant to be normal, at least God has it's a lie. Even when Jesus says, in the Bible, he says, in this world you will face tribulation. But be of good cheer, I have overcome them. Look, I'm here to tell you, there are some things that you have to go through that is not going to be palatable to you. I mean, don't use the word suffering as you like. Use the word sacrifice. Maybe that is milder. But you shall go through some pain. That is the truth. You go through some pain. You will go through some hardship. God told Abraham, you'll be father of nations. What was he suffering? He was what? Sorry, come again? He was childless for so many years. How does it make sense? It doesn't make sense. You're going to be father of all nations. So God says you're going to be wealthy and you're going to, you want to... What? Have you noticed that most of the people that do financial, you're going to be wealthy, you're going to be wealthy, you're going to be wealthy. The people that teach people how to make money, people that are wealthy, and most of them, people that actually, I'm not saying all the wealthy people that actually see it as a calling, that they want to help people be financially free. Go and check their story. Most of them suffered by not having money. Because there's a lesson to be learned at every point in time. My story goes this. So I tell you that, this is what you can do. You do it, it works for you. Now I want to do my own. Okay, it doesn't work out. I don't blow. And I'm like, God, what is happening? Like, is this what I'm meant to be doing? This is what I'm meant to be doing? This. Are you sure that people that he told that, okay, do this thing? They do it and it becomes... Until I got to realize that, look, I think it's high time I stopped praying that I should blow. That's not the right prayer point. The right prayer point, I had to pray a different prayer. Okay, what is the lesson you're trying to teach me? Do you have to... The concept of sacrifice is this concept that we don't want to go through. We live in a generation where people want to jump the process. People don't want to sacrifice. You want to be like Mandela. How many want to be like Mandela? Nobody will raise their hand. Nobody will raise their hand. Elon Musk just bought Twitter, things are happening and all that. I've not read his story before, but I'm sure that there is a part of his story whereby he had sleepless nights, maybe he did something. There is no way, there has to be a price to be paid. Have you ever asked God, what price am I meant to pay? Have you ever done it? What price am I to pay? The only thing we ask God, God, let me discover it. God, help me to maximize it. God, give me money. Okay. What about the other? You have to pay a price. There's something. Before you pass an exam, what is the price that you have to pay? You have to read. There has to be sleepless nights. Well, for me, it was a sleepless night because anytime I try to read at night, I sleep off. So I don't even bother reading at night. I sleep peacefully at night. But during the day, that's when I read. But there is nothing on the path to greatness. You have to go through, you have to pay a price. Have you ever asked, God, what price am I to pay for what I am pursuing? What price am I to pay? Because the earlier you understand, the earlier you understand, don't be like the Israelites that they didn't understand. And the only two people that got to the promised land that left, all of them died on the journey. Only if they had understood that, is it that they didn't even understand or they were just too stubborn I don't even understand. As in, were they too stubborn? I don't know. God does signs and wonders and you're still being stubborn. So I'm here to ask you or to tell you in your pursuit, everybody wants to be great. If you don't want to be great, you don't have to pay some price. Leave it. One of the prices I had to pay was resign from my job. I resigned from my job when I was working in Lagos. I had to resign from my job. I was trying to be smart. So I'm always the guy that has plan A to plan Z. So when I was working, I gave myself a target. In the next, I'm working in this place, I was saving 50K every month out of my salary. Every month I was saving 50K. For 6 months, saved like 300K, started fish farm. I started my fish farm. Out of my remaining salary also, I was saving, I was doing Ajo. You know what's Ajo? Is it cooperative they call it? Thrift. Really? That's the name. Oh, okay. I never knew. I was in Ajo, and I was also saving with these people, mutual benefits. I was saving 10K with them. So I had because I've suffered before. I suffered, you don't understand. That one, when I was in school, I suffered a lot. There was no money. So it I got, I was like, okay, I told God, my salary, God, first salary I get when I get out of school must not be less than 100K. And the first salary I got was way more than 100K. So I started saving. I was working with NEPA that time, so we were receiving some other money by the side. So I hardly touched my salary. So during my salary go, I was saving it, I was multiplying it, no. Then, I was feeling uncomfortable. I was like, I started becoming depressed. I was depressed. I wasn't enjoying what I was doing. It was annoying. It was frustrating. I was making money, but I wasn't happy. The story of an average Nigerian, right, that is stuck in a job and they can't leave it, they hate it, and they're just doing it, just to make ends meet, they're just doing it, It was my story. I was making money, everything was set, but I hated myself. Monday morning was the worst day of my life. I used to wake up feeling angry. So I hated my job. I don't know who sent me work. I just there to go for one training. And they started talking about purpose and passion. I said, yes, I want to follow purpose, I want to follow passion. I don't know who sent me. That's how I resigned. Smart. I had a fish farm. I had everything. Don't let me bore you with that. Within 3, 4, 6 months, everything, everything, all my money, everything. And God was trying to teach me a lesson that it was smart, Abby. I got it. Funnily enough, when I was, the month I resigned, the next day I got another job in the music and entertainment industry. Yes, this is where I want to be. This is my area and all that. I wanted to be there. That is where I want to be. And I got a job, and I even give testimony. You don't understand. I give testimony that everything don't bless. From job where I eat to job where I love. First month, no salary. Second month, no salary. Third month, no salary. In fact, as at the time, the owner of the company traveled, left all the affairs of the company in my hands. Other staffs were getting paid. Me, 1 naira. He said, Maria, if I come back, you're my personal person. I will pay you personally. Till date, 1 kobo, he didn't pay me. I said, no. I am a very, very dogged person. Got another job. Still the same thing. No salary, nothing. Oluwa, what is happening, God? What is really happening? I had to learn a lesson. I'll tell you about the lesson later. The lesson, I might not tell you because it is personal to me. Because I had to learn a lesson during that year. That year was one of the worst years of my life. Terrible. The worst years of my life. And God, when I was asking God, what's happened? God told me, look, do you think that you would, you just woke up one day and say you want to follow purpose, you want to follow. Even Jesus, even Son of God. Do you know what happened to Jesus on that day? He was practically saying, I don't want to die. That was, wasn't that what he was saying? I don't want to drink of this, but you have to drink of this cup. Because if Jesus didn't die, what's the point? He would have easily skipped that process and just be like, peace out, y'all. I'm going to heaven, y'all. That's it. Peace. But the beauty of the old Christian is that he died and he came back to life. That's the sweetness of it. Suffering is always sweet when you have made it. I remember when I used to suffer. When I used to also on the street of Lagos. Like a friend of mine that had only one shoe. I like the way he always said this. He said, he has told me that story up to many times. I'm tired. No. One thing about when I got to Lagos, how do you, okay, shut up, we don't hear. Well, it's sweet when you've made it. But why are you going through the process? So basically, I need you to ask that question. In your pursuit of purpose, in the pursuit of passion, talent, whatever it is, there's a price to be paid. Everybody has different price. You have to pay. Everybody, it is left for you to now discover it. It's left for you. But I know that if you can ask, God will answer you. And a lot of us don't want to ask. We want to be like the ostrich that will just dip their heads under the ground when they're in the midst. They just play. They don't want to know what is happening. Stupid animals. They just, you know of the ostrich now. There is danger around. What do? They will hide their head. God, thank God I'm not an animal. But really, we need to face our, let me say suffering. We need to face our process head on. Some of us are scared. And that is where I'm going to. Fear. We are scared. We are scared to go through the process. Because we feel that we are going to break. We are scared. Because you don't know the extent. Jesus was scared at that point. But what did the Bible say? An angel came and strengthened him. We are scared. Some of us are meant to make decisions, but you know that if you make that decision, you will suffer. You will what? You will go through that process. You're meant to, but you are scared that, if I make this decision, what's going to happen? I was speaking to someone this morning, and she was crying, crying. I don't know, alive, I don't know, crying, really crying. What is happening? This. So she was going through a process, and a lot of times that people are going through their process and they come to meet me, and I can easily help them out, but I'm particularly instructed not to. They need to go through that process. They need to learn a lesson. I don't even understand. Because the ideal thing that we do is that, we're going through this process. You are trying to look for a way out. Why don't you ask God? Before praying that the suffering should end, before praying that this process should end, why don't you ask God, why am I going through this process? What is the reason? Like I said, not every reason is as a result of your purpose. And that is what I've come to tell us today. Basically. In Romans chapter 5 verse 3 to 5, we gladly suffer. Because you know that suffering helps us to endure, and endurance builds character, which gives us a hope that will never disappoint us. Let me stop there. Sometimes we ask, why do we suffer? I mean, suffering actually helps you, builds endurance, and also it builds character. Because God is not going to entrust you with greatness if you don't have the virtue to handle that greatness. And you don't learn character by teaching. You learn character by experience. No matter how much someone teaches you to be good, to be kind, the real test of your kindness is when someone in need comes to you and you are stuck in between, oh, I have 100 naira, this person is asking for 100 naira. I have only 100 naira left. That is the real test of kindness. That's the real test of you. The real test of forgiveness is when someone hurts you. You can't tell me that I forgive. It's a lie. It's a lie. Because they taught you in church, or someone says, I say, yes, Lord. When someone hurts you, that is when you will know that you can forgive. That's when you learn forgiveness. Are you following me? God is not going to entrust you with greatness if you don't have the virtue to handle that greatness. You don't have the character base to handle that greatness. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. God is not going to trust you with $1 million if you can't handle 100 naira. The little that you have. So you're asking God, give me more. How did you handle the little that He gave you? If you're not smart about it, don't expect God to give you more. I mean, really, this is just simple. So why do we go through this process? Each and all this process builds a virtue inside of us.